going to be in your playlist, so you can go back if we do a problem. You can go back and go over it again. Projects, you have one for each unit. The work is divided into 3 units. They are already out there. You can see the highlighted if you go to class sessions and scroll down where they're assigned what week. They are already out there with your tutorials anytime you want to start. And as soon as we have the schedule for the workshops, I will put those out there. The workshops are a good investment of an hour or 2 if you can make it. They go right through and do step by step the Excel part. Then they discuss all the questions you have to answer. And you can also get your paper edited at the Learning Center. And then quizzes of 2 that will be dropped are also 15%. And I forgot the other part of the discussion board. It is also under class sessions. You have a discussion board every week but test weeks. Don't work ahead because I am going to change some of those. The first one is okay, but I need to change some of them because we do not use Blackboard Collaborate and you guys do not meet in individual meeting rooms. We tried Blackboard Collaborate and it's very unstable, so GoToMeeting works much better. So I have to change some of those. That is every week 10 points. The synchronized class is 5 points. You are unable, if you don't come to class, you cannot get points for the discussion board unless you go to the YouTube video list, watch it, and comment that you watched it. Then you can proceed to the discussion board for the 10 points. Even though you missed the 5, you can still get 10. So the quizzes, you get 2 attempts. They are under the class session, under assignments. These are nested folders. So you have to keep drilling down. And I will show you how to get to them in just a second. And you get 2 attempts. Okay, so you can do it once and then take one at a after that one and get them all right. Okay. All right. Any questions on where your grade comes from? Okay. Then you have your course calendar that tells you what you need to do each week, what sections we're covering. So this week, week 1 right here, section 1 and 2 needed to be pre-read, your book done before you came to class, and attempt the WebWorks. There is no section 1 homework, so it starts out with section 2 and WebWorks. As long as you got that done, you will be fine. Doesn't need to be complete before Wednesday, but just most of it so you know what questions you have. The other things you're going to need is you need a quiz in Blackboard. Like we said, it's part of over the syllabus and problems, so have your syllabus out when you take it. After this class, you have a discussion board. Discussion boards are usually easy 10 points. Do them right after class. Got the WebWorks and the quiz. There is no on Excel this time. The first Excel comes in week 3 right here. So next week you'll have 3 sections of homework, 3, 4, and 5, plus your Blackboard quiz and your WebWorks homework for each one of those and the discussion board. Okay. And week 3 you can see is where the Excel comes in. Okay. Any questions on that?
I have a question about the quizzes themselves.
Okay.
Are you, I have a during when you're taking the quizzes, can you move between questions without submitting each answer?
Okay.
Or is it?
Trying to get rid of somebody's background noise. I don't know if it's yours or somebody else's. I'm unable to hear you.
Okay, acknowledgement. The part number, does it correspond to E32?
Okay, I got it there now. On the quiz, you have to finish it all at one setting, but it does let you go from question to question and go back. It shouldn't be coming up one question at a time. It should come up with all of them. I thought that's how I had them set. Is that not happening?
I haven't gone in to look at it yet, and I also wondered, are they timed?
30 minutes. Okay. 30
Okay,
minutes.
thanks.
And so you get the 2 attempts. The first one, don't worry about it. Just if you didn't get it, you know, make sure you write the problems down that you're having trouble with that you think you might not get. And then the people that have taken it, I've sent them feedback on the ones they've missed. Then they can, I'm not always going to be able to do that, but then you can go back for that second attempt. The earlier you do it, if you do it like Sunday night, I'm not going to be able to give you any feedback, but there's no problem with saying, I don't understand number 3 on the quiz. I missed the first time. Can you help me with that type of problem? Okay. And there's nothing wrong with asking your classmates, did anybody have a problem with that? It draws from a pool of questions, so you're going to get different numbers. So you're going to get different numbers, but the same type of problem. Okay? Anybody else?
Are we supposed to fill out the stuff in the book that we received in the mail?
Yeah.
Okay.
You should be doing that on Sunday or Monday. There are Hippocampus, it's under Hippocampus, under resources. There are videos that go straight through the book, and it's a video lecture. Since we don't have time to lecture, you watch the videos, fill in your book ahead of time, then try your homework. It's an investment in time that will save you time by watching.
Oh, I did that completely backwards.
Yeah, it's much, and that's why I've sent the pacing guide, right? If I come back here to this, okay, so I keep somebody. Okay. Okay, so for like the pacing, Sunday and Monday, read and complete the text and use the video lectures and PowerPoints. Okay. Monday to Wednesday, attempt all the web work sections. Email me if you have any problems. Don't spend like an hour or 2 on number like 18 and 19. It's okay if you need help with one. That's fine. That's why we're here. You know, give it a try, a couple of tries, and if you don't have it, you know, mark that one down as needing help. Then after class, come to the class. Then after class, so from Wednesday or Thursday to Friday, go back and get 100% on your homework, complete the discussion board, complete any Excel assignments, and also take your first quiz attempt. Okay, and that leaves you Friday and Saturday to take your second quiz attempt. And then you start all over again. Okay, does not include our extra project every month and our tests. Those are in addition to everything on there. And I have sent this out a couple of times, and I will put it in the announcements again. If you do that, I can't guarantee you, but I can't see how anybody wouldn't pass that did all that and got help at supplemental. Instruction is free on campus. Learning Center is free. My office hours are free. You can set up your own GoToMeeting with your classmates and do the work together and talk about it. So, but following that pace and using all the resources is really what it's going to take. Okay. So I wanted to show you, I don't know how many of you found all the information, but let's go to your resources so I can show you. Okay. We'll come back to class sessions. That's where everything is found. Your resource tab is right here. And if you scroll down, we're not using Blackboard Collaborate, so you don't need that. It's a funny name, but it says right here it's the collection of videos broken down by section. Okay. So when you come in, this is section 1, 2, 3, 4. So you click on section 1, and all of these with the -123, they're going page for page over your 123 book. You should be playing that while you're filling it in, not guessing and beating your head against the wall. And she is fantastic. She goes over it great. Then, like this is just extra information on how to use the calculator. There's no -123. The -080, there's a blue separator in your book. These all go with extra supplemental materials. Let's say you're still having trouble with one of these topics. You can look back in the 080 blue section after the blue tab, and these videos go along with those pages in the 080. These have no dash and a course number, so they are just extra sites, not necessarily what's in the book, but plenty of help. Okay, so like 2 was a very good section, and some of you could have used more help on the end part with the age dependency ratios. Okay, so this is part right out of your book, and she just goes through.
All right, we're going to deal with some age dependency ratios. So this is a specific application of types of ratios.
And she's fantastic. She's got an animated voice. She's funny. So you can go through and just follow right along in the book. Like I said, it's an investment that will have you save so much time in the end. Okay. Any questions on how to get to the videos? Okay. Now let's make sure you know that you need to go into class sessions every week. Okay. You can get to discussion board here, but everything else you have to go nesting. So when you go into class session 1, there's the overview, content, but anything like this is your discussion board. Okay. This is how you go into that. Then you'll hit create a thread, and you'll come up with the question and be able to answer it. If it's got numbers, I'd appreciate you copying the numbers, something you have to calculate, into your text box so I can see it, what you did. If we go back to class sessions, these are learning activities to help you get ready. This is your important one right here. Assignments and assessments. You have to get into that folder. It tells you to complete your WebWorks. We don't, you have a different link in Blackboard. And then here's the quiz right here. Okay. The exam reference sheet is just what you get to use on exam 2 and 3 with conversion ratios, so you don't have to memorize all the conversions. So you can see this is the quiz you were asking. It's 30 minutes. Okay, we can go ahead. I don't mind on this one showing you. Actually, I have the 2 end problems we're going to go over. It's a pool of questions, so you may pull different questions. The first part, have your syllabus. It's just saying, how many proctored exams are there?
3.
3. Yep. Now this was your answer. You can hit save and submit, but you're going to get zeros on everything else. You have to complete it all at once. You can save the answer anytime. You can go to the next one. They're all pulling up. If you want to skip one and go back, you can. Okay. Which of the following describes the quiz policy? Can you take up any time? Anybody?
No.
No, they have due dates every week.
The third one.
She says they must be completed, and you drop 2. That is correct. What special equipment? You need a computer and a microphone. I need to fix this for you. It's probably going to be wrong. They probably have this one. I thought I changed it. But I will give you credit if you only put a computer and a microphone. It is not optional. We don't need Blackboard Collaborate. I fixed the other class. It looks like I forgot to fix yours. So in actuality, we don't need that. We need to go to meeting is what we need. Okay, then you have 2 more questions on the syllabus, and then we this time have 2 questions which I have printed out for us to go over. Okay. Questions on the quizzes.
Is each quiz only 7 questions?
Some of them are 5, and I think maybe 1 or 2 or 10. They're all short. They're not long quizzes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So everybody knows how to get to the quizzes, knows how to get to class sessions, discussion boards. And I'll go to, if you scroll down, you can see here's the first project. So anytime you want to print that material out and get started, you can. You just need to go to week 8. Week 3, I'll just show you that we have a Excel assignment in addition to the WebWorks. If you go to Assignment and Assessments, here is the link in the Excel assignment. Okay, so you're going to have the Excel assignment, the WebWorks, and a quiz that week.
Now, how do we send you the Excel assignments after we're done?
They're like here, right here. You go into it, there's a link, it goes right in. Okay. What you do is you just follow the link and you upload it by clicking on the link of the assignment name. Okay. This
Do
takes
you have an example of the Excel project completed?
the projects I do. The mini ones, no. These ones, no. But for the entire project, there are examples in there for each 1, 2, and 3 project. Okay. Okay. This is there's right there. Browse my computer. So you just go to that and you attach your file once you make it. Okay. That's how you get graded. Okay. These are very small ones, and you do have right here this tab right here, Excel Help. So if you're making a chart or pie chart, you can go right here and it'll take you to help buttons on how to do that. Okay, along with the Learning Center, Supplemental, and My Office Hours. But it's very good explanations in the help. We have very good student guides on the major projects to take you through step by step. Okay, discussion, that's just another way to get into the discussion boards other than class session. These are your grades. We've been to resources. Help button. Email, do not message me, send me an email through Ivy Tech. This has other things, tools that you can work with your classmates and things. These are the PowerPoints that go along with each section. You can use that instead of the video, but I think the video, she explains it much better. The PowerPoints, you're just going to get the answers filled in. It's not going to tell you why it works or how it works. And there's our WebWorks homework, and we have all but 4 people working, and we need everybody working in WebWorks. Remember, it's your username twice. You put in your username for your password, no caps. You can change it after that, but you put it in twice. Okay, that is your book. Anybody that said they haven't got their book yet, or if you don't, you've got an ebook on here at all times. The Excel help, those are both just for me. Go to meeting links I put in. That's got my office hours. Somewhere down here. Okay. There are my office hours. I am at Lawrence at my office Monday and Wednesday. I am available. Noblesville campus 8:30 to 11 on Tuesdays. Thursdays I have by appointment because I reserve this time. I try to get on early if anybody needs to for your class, but to come to my office from 8:30 to 11 you need to make an appointment, and then usually 2 to 2:30 I'm available as well. And Fridays by appointment from 8:30 to noon. We have meetings usually once or twice a month, so I'm not available every Friday, but on non-meeting Fridays I can usually come in and meet you if you need to. And learning centers are open between the campuses Monday through Saturday. Not at every campus all the time, but between them. And then the supplemental will get the schedule as soon as we get it. Okay. Any questions on the flow of the course, Blackboard, or finding anything? Okay, we did the video lectures. Okay, the recording. Somebody was asking, can I back up? It takes, after the end of the meeting, I have to, they transfer it to a different form to save it. That takes about 4 hours, and then I post it in YouTube. So right now you can't back it up, but in about 4 hours it'll be posted, and you can rewatch whatever you need to rewatch. Okay. Questions? Is Tiffany McCain here yet? Doing some roll call here for the ones I haven't got. Harold Delafield and Sarah. Okay, those are the only 3 I am missing. Okay, are we ready to move on to ratios? Somebody type or say yes or say no.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, yesterday they said the video feed was very choppy. I hope today is better. All last semester it was like a bad old movie, but students said it was no problem figuring it out. My voice would be ahead of the video feed, but yesterday they said it was very choppy. So let's just start out with a ratio, a simple one here. It's a comparison of 2 numbers. You can write them as fractions, like 4 to 5. You can write them with a colon, 4 to 5, or you can use 4 to 5. Most common way is going to be a reduced fraction. So in a class of 30 students where there are 18 women and 12 men, the ratio of men to women is what?
Two to three.
18 to 12.
12 to 18.
3 to 2.
Okay, well we could start out with, does order matter? Yes, it does, right?
Yes.
We need to put men in the numerator are in the first spot and women in the second spot because it says men to women. That's not the same thing as women to men. So we would say 12 to 18, right? 12 over 18, and most of you reduced it. You divided numerator and denominator by 6, and I heard the correct 2/3. Okay? Just the very basics there. Now, one important concept in this chapter is this a part-to-part comparison or a part-to-whole? The reason that's important, if we compare 2 parts, you cannot make it a percent. You can make it a decimal down to what is 1 per 1, a unit fraction into a decimal. But part to whole, that is what a percent is. It's the part divided by the whole times 100, or move the decimal and you get a percent. You're doing quantitative analysis. You're going to have to write meaningful sentence in different ways. If it's part to part, you have to realize you cannot make a percentage comparison because it does not mathematically, it's not mathematically sound. If it's part to whole, you can and you should use that as a meaningful way to compare things. So is this part to part or part to whole?
Part to part.
Yeah, they're both part of the total 30. So we can't use it as a percent. Okay, we'll go. Okay, write the ratio of women to the entire class as a reduced fraction. So what needs to go in the numerator?
Number of women.
Women.
Yep, because that's what is first. So that would be 18. What goes in the denominator?
30.
And then that would reduce to?
3/5.
285.
Yeah.
285.
Now, any of you that fear calculators, this recommended calculator, or fear fractions, the recommended calculator is the best fraction calculator in the world. You hit the N over D button right there, and you can put in 18, use your directional pad to arrow down over 30, enter, and we get 2/5. Okay, we got somebody on again here. There we go. Okay, everybody see how to use the calculator? It's a fantastic tool. For anybody that has fraction phobia, this is the best fraction calculator in the world. Go ahead,
Can you
ma'am.
do that again, please?
See this
Can you
N
do
over?
that again, please?
Yeah. See the N over D button? Right here I'm pointing.
Yes.
That's numerator over denominator. So you press that. It flashes in the numerator. You put in whatever your numerator is. You arrow down. You put in the denominator, and you hit enter, and it gives you the reduced. Now, you have a toggle button right above the enter. All you got to do is hit that, and it'll make it a decimal.
Huh.
You need that. If you need to go from a decimal to a fraction, it works both ways. You hit the toggle button again, and it goes back to fraction form. By far the best fraction calculator in the world. The little green directions above the buttons, you just hit second. This goes from an improper fraction to mixed number back and forth. This one is, you can put in mixed numbers. And this is fraction to decimal, decimal to fractions. The same thing this button down here does. Okay. Okay.
And I'm getting my phone charger up there. I'm going to go down the street and go to that consignment store. The dog store will be back. I left my phone upstairs.
Okay, we got somebody at the store. Okay. Try to, if you're not talking, hit the mute. And then when you want to ask a question, come on. We're getting lots of background today. Okay. Is this part to whole or part to part?
Part to whole.
Very good. Okay, got Brian, Caitlin, a whole bunch of people responding. Yep, the 30 is the entire class. The women is part of that, part to whole. So can we make this a percent?
Yes.
So how do we go? You can use your calculator, but to do it by hand, it's numerator divided by denominator. We get the decimal. That makes it a decimal form. To make it a percent, people learn two ways. You can multiply by 100 and add the percent symbol. That's the same thing as moving the decimal 2 places to the right. That does the very same thing. So whichever way you get it correct is the way you should do it, but don't do both. Okay? Write a sentence using the percent. There are about 60% women in the class. Okay, something of that nature. A sentence without percents. There are about 3 women to every 5. I'll change that. Out of every 5 class members, about 3 are women. Okay? Make sense? Now we got music. Okay. Making sense to people?
Yeah.
Okay. Crystal, did you have something? I didn't see what that question was. Popped up.
No.
Okay.
I don't.
Thought I saw a question come up.
Nope, sorry.
We have 2 crystals, by the way. So Not sure which one it was. Okay, write the ratio of women to men. Okay, so women is 18, men is 12, which would be 3/2. Do not make it improper, leave it as a fraction. Is this part to part or part to whole?
Part to part.
Yep, can't make it a percent. There are about 3 women to every 2 men in the class. Okay, you can make it a decimal, then it would be there are whatever the 1.5 women to every man. Okay, that takes it to the, if you divide it out, it comes to a unit rate, whatever the number is, to 1 of what's in the denominator. Okay, part to part and part to whole, it's very important to understand the difference. Okay, I know we need to move on because we have to get to number 19. I will skip this and just do it in 19. Age dependency ratios. Okay. You can be asked to give any ratio, like on a chart, the age in number 18 was like an age group 15 and under to the entire population. That is not the specific age dependency ratios. This is a real life ratio used to determine the stability of a society, that the dependents have enough people to work or to take care of them. This is an international, so the brackets are going to seem very strange, but this is an actual real life thing. They call people are child dependents, they can't take care of themselves, are those that are under 15. Who do they depend on? The 15 to 64-year-olds. Those are considered the working class that people depend on. Okay, now in our society, I don't know many 15-year-olds that take care of other people and themselves. But I guess around the world that was a set amount, break off where they said they were child dependents. Okay, so on all 3 of the age dependency ratios, the numerator is determined by which one you're finding, and if it says child, it makes sense that that's going to be the group defined, what they define as a child dependent is under 15. And on all 3 of them, you divide it by the working class 15 to 64. The common error is to divide it by the total population. If you're asked for the age dependency ratios, child age, old age, or age dependency, then you divide it by the working class 15 to 64. You divide that out, you get the number, and you make meaningful sentences out of it. Okay. The old age, and this kind of goes along with our society, they define old age dependents as those over 65. Now we are working a lot more longer in the U.S., but for many generations that was set as the retirement age. Who do they depend on? The 15 to 64-year-olds were the ones paying in Social Security that went out to the ones that were 65 and older. We're in trouble now because we have a larger portion of this than this. We can't fund them. That's why they are moving the retirement age for Social Security up to 70 for most of us. So the ratio would be those 65 and over, and you divide it by the 15 to 65-year-olds. Okay. The age dependency, not child and not old, means all those age dependents in your society. So you need to add the child dependents and the old age dependents, those that are under 15 with those that are 65 and older. That becomes your numerator. Add those first before dividing, and then once again we divide by the 15 to 64-year-olds, the working class. Okay, does that explain it for some of you? And we will go to 19 and do that. Okay, so we are going to go down here to my WebWorks, already open. I'm in section 2. And we have 19. Now, we all get a different pool of questions. We're not necessarily going to get the same thing as I do. Okay. My question, oh, this is not my question. This is somebody else in another class's question. Let me, actually pretend mine says Midwest, because that's the one I did, was the Midwest. Okay. So for the child dependency ratio, let me go back and get, what are we going to do? What's our numerator going to be?
So children under the age of 15?
You are absolutely correct. So you have to add those values. And I'm going to this one because I've already added the values. So what we would be adding right now is the under 5, 5 to 9, and 10 to 14. And when I add those, I get 13,180. Now, a lot of you had problems on 18 because they asked you how many are there. And you've got to be careful and look for things on your chart like this number in thousands. So there's actually 13,180, and because it's in thousands, you'd have to add 3 more zeros. Now on ratios, they're going to cancel each other out, so it doesn't matter, but most people that had problem with 18, those first 3 questions, when you're summing them, you have to add the thousands to it. Okay, so that is our under 15. For the 15 to 64 is my working class that they get divided by. I add those, and that became 44,209. And the 3 zeros. But again, you can leave the 3 zeros off because when we write our ratio, it's 13,180 and then the thousands divided by 44,209. So those just cancel anyway. When we put that in, we get 0.29814, and it keeps repeating. It says round to the nearest thousand. You got to be really careful. So that you look behind the thousandths. If it's 5 or greater, you go up. Less than 5, leave it alone. So we get 0.298. Okay. When you divide them out, it means there's 0.298 of the numerator per 1 in the denominator. Okay. So there are 0.298 dependents under 15 for every 1 worker, 15 to 64. When you divide it out, you get a unit per 1. Okay? Make sense to people? Had people send me questions. Doing okay there? Okay, is this part to part or part to whole?
Part to part.
Part to part. Okay. Then when we do the old age, now we take those that are over 65 and over, which is right here, with that down there. When I added those, the 65 and up was 8715. Again, it's in thousands, but they're going to cancel. Divide it by the working class, not the total. and those cancel, and that comes out to be 0.197 when you round it. And it is also part to part. The age dependency. That takes all people in society. That are dependent, so we need to add our under 15 in the numerator with our 65 and older. Our child and old age dependents get added together and still divide by the 15 to 64. When I add them together, I get 21,895, and this is the Midwest. You may get a different one. Over 44,209. Dividing that out becomes 0.495. There are 0.495 age-dependent citizens per one working class. Okay? Do you understand where I'm getting the 1? When you divide it out, it becomes a unit. It's whatever that number is per one of the denominator. It's going to be important here in a second. And these are part to part, so we cannot do percentages. Now comes the interpretation. Our child dependency ratio, we calculated, was 0.298. So we cannot make this a percent because it's not per everyone in the Midwest. It was a part to part, so this one is out. There are 298 children for every 1,000 workers. How would you know per any number given? You can figure it out once you have the ratio. This is per 1. So if you want to know how many per 1,000, all you have to do is multiply this by 1,000. And it equals 298, so that one is true. Okay. It says there are approximately 30 for every 100 workers. Okay. Well, now we take our 298, multiply it by 100 to see how many per 100. You get 29.8, which is approximately 30, so that is correct. It says there are 29.8% of the workers are children. No, we don't have child workers, and that was not a percentage because we didn't do the total. It was divided by another part. There are 298 for every 1,000 in the Midwest. What's wrong with this? It's not the total Midwest, it's only those workers in the age 15 to 64. So that's why B and C are your true ones. Does that clarify that for those of you that had the questions? The next two are the same thing. And then my other class had more problems with section 5. Okay, now it's asking you, what if those ratios changed and we kind of mentioned this before, this is happening with our Social Security. They are changing it to this. 65 to 69 become workers. They're taking out of the age dependence. So you would just take your original age dependent amount, which we had already calculated at 21,895. That was our age dependence. And we would subtract the 2613 because that's the amount in that group. I looked at my chart. 65 to 69 is 2613 for the Midwest. Okay, so we have to take that out of our age dependence, and we have to add it to the workers because they now become workers. So our new ratio is 19,282 over 46,822, and it divides out to 0.412. Okay? Does that help with 19?
Yep.
18 was not as difficult as this one. The problem with 18 was that most people did not catch, and it won't always be there, that this chart said right here in thousands. Okay? So when you totaled your groups, my under 15 are the regional totals. Okay? When you add it up, you get 13,180. But because the chart is in thousands, you have to add 3 more zeros because every one person, number 1 counts as 1,000 actually. Okay, so that is where most people run into the problems. Okay, then you just need to follow the questions because it's not the age dependency ratios. They may be asking you to do it to the total of the Midwest. So this is saying those under 15, 13,180. Now those thousands are going to cancel, and then they did do the total for you. 66,104. Again, it's in thousands, but you can just cross those both out. And you divide it out. And you get 0.199. This is part to whole. You could make that 19.9%, and if you were writing a sentence. This one says per 100,000, so here you take 0.199 times 100,000. Here it's per 1,000. You take it times 1,000. Okay? Are we good with 18 and 19 now?
Yep.
Thank you.
I did have a question on 17, but I think you'll have to stay after class for that one. Some people might not need it. The only other thing, I printed out your 2 quiz questions. If you want to hang around, these are the 2 non-syllabus questions that you're going to get. If you want to make a note before you take your quiz. Okay. You may have different numbers, of course, or different things you're asked for, but this will be the type of the 2 questions that are not syllabus questions. Calculate the ratio of females 21 to 44 to males 21 to 44, expressed as a decimal rounded to the thousandths. Put a 0 in front of the decimal. Okay, so we just look at our chart. Females 21 to 44, we've got 49,159 over males 49,402. You divide it out. We get 0.9950, and it says go to thousandths. There's no ones. This is tenths, hundredths, thousandths. So our answer to get all your points on the quiz on that one, won't be necessarily yours, is 0.995. Is it part to part or part to whole?
Part to part.
Okay.
Okay. Now, I've only had one person get 100 on the quiz so far, and I've probably had 15 take it. They're going in the wrong order. They're just putting the male to female. Their order matters. Whichever one comes first has to be in your numerator. Okay. The last question on the quiz, which of the following best describes how to calculate the age dependency ratio? So those three ratios in society to check how healthy the population is based on dependence and working class. The denominator on every one of them is what? Age group. What's our working class?
16 to 54.
Yep, 15 to 64. So on the age, that's all dependents. It's those under 15 plus those 65 and older. You add those and then divide. Okay. So do you take the under 15 and divide by and 65 and older population divided by the 15 to 64-year-old population? I believe that's it. Okay. This one, what's wrong? It says you're dividing by the total, which is the common error. This one, they just compared the two dependents. And this one, they put the workers in the numerator. So your answer, and don't just say I'm going to say A, because they come in different orders and different questions. You need to understand what it's talking about. You need to know those ratios will not be given to you on the test. You have to know those, but they really make sense. If you know all the workers are the denominator, the working class, 15 to 64, you know what they define as child dependence is under 15, old age is 65 and older, and age is both of those together. Okay? That should get you 100% on your quiz if you get out your syllabus and take your time. Okay, any other questions? I'm looking back. These come up so fast I can't. Okay, somebody's staying for 17. I had a request on 17, so I will be doing that. Yikes! Somebody needs to turn off their speaker. Somebody mute yourself. There, you got it. Okay. If you're staying for this, it says consider the ratio 90 not working to 120 working. Express the ratio as a reduced fraction. So what goes in our numerator? Which one is first? 90 over 120. Now you can put it in your handy dandy calculator and reduce it, or you can do it by hand. Those cancel. Divide by 3, and we would get 3 over 4. Okay. Are you good with that? You do 3/4. All right, good. Then the next section, okay, is write as a decimal. So our fraction was 3 over 4. So to go from, this just means division. You just do 3 divided by 4. And this would be 0.75. Now on some of them they're making us put the 0 in front. And it says thousandths, so they may or may not make you put the 0 on the end. That's one of those you just have to check it and see. 0.75 may or may not need the 0 there. Okay, and it took it. It would have taken it without the 0 as well. Okay. Down to the last part. There are 60 working for every 45 knot. I can't remember what our original is here. What was our original? 90 to 120. Okay, so that wasn't one of our fractions. How you can know, again, 0.75 is the ratio. If you want to know for, they reverse this on us. Okay, it's per 60 working. So you'd have to take 0.75 times 60. And that is a true statement because that is 45. The other way you can look at it as the fraction is, does 3/4 equal, the not working is the numerator and the working is the denominator. Does that equal 45 over 60? And it does. Those are both times 15. Or you can cross multiply. So A is correct. Okay? So they want to know which one is not true, so we don't mark A. Okay? This one is true. There are 1.333 not working for each working. We already figured that out. It's 0.75 not working for one working. That's the ratio for working to non-working. So B is false. Okay. For every working, there are 0.75 not working. That's true. There are 7,200 not working for every 9,600 working. Okay, so we have 0.75 not working to one working. So if they want to know to the 9,600, just multiply by 9,600. And that does equal 7,200. You could also set up a proportion and do this to see. So that is true. For every not working, there are 1.33 working. Okay, so we need to reverse this and put not working over on the bottom and working up here. Okay, so we have 120 working to 90 not working. And that does come out to be 1.3 repeating, so that is true. So the only false one is B. Are you still there? Falby, that was one of your questions. Does that answer it?
Yep.
Okay. Anybody else? Make sure we got it right here. I will see you next week also. And we got them all right. Okay, Crystal, you're the only one left. Any questions? All right, we will end our meeting. I think Crystal's actually gone. Oh, there you are. Did you have a question?
No, I'm there. No, I don't have a question.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting and start saving it then, and I will see you next week.
Okay, see you next week.